Hi everyone, my name is Masood Saeed and I'm a social science psychologist. This video will explore the bloody secret history, Western propaganda. The world is a tapestry of cultures, each thread a unique story, each color a vibrant perspective. Yet somewhere along the way, the West's perception of Islamic culture became skewed. It's like looking at a magnificent Persian rug through a lens that only shows you knots and frayed edges. You miss the intricate designs, the beauty woven into its very core. This distorted view isn't accidental, it's the result of a deliberate campaign. Edward Said, in his seminal work Orientalism, 1978, argues that the West has historically constructed a distorted image of the East to justify colonial and imperial ambitions, a campaign fueled by misinformation and propagated through powerful channels. Noam Chomsky, in Manufacturing Consent, 1988, discusses how media serves as a tool for propaganda, shaping public perception to align with political agendas. This is the story of how Western propaganda hijacked the narrative, painting Islam with the brush of extremism and violence. Karen Armstrong, in Islam, A Short History, 2000, highlights how historical events have been selectively interpreted to cast Islam in a negative light. We've all seen the headlines, heard the sound bites: Islamic terrorism, Muslim extremism. These phrases have become so commonplace they barely elicit a reaction anymore. But each time they are uttered, another seed of fear and prejudice is sown. Dr. Jack Shaheen, in Real Bad Arabs, 2001, documents how Hollywood has perpetuated negative stereotypes of Arabs and Muslims for decades. It's time to pull back the curtain, to expose the machinery of propaganda and reveal the truth about Islam. As the philosopher Ibn Khaldun noted in the Muqaddimah, 1377, understanding the context and history is crucial to overcoming prejudice and fostering true understanding. In the digital age, information is a weapon, and nowhere is this more apparent than in the way Islam is portrayed in Western media. Fake news spreads like wildfire on social media, distorting historical events and religious texts to fit a predetermined narrative. Headlines scream about Islamic terrorism, but rarely mention the countless acts of Muslim charity or the peaceful lives led by millions worldwide. The actions of a few are used to demonize an entire faith, perpetuating a cycle of fear and misunderstanding. This isn't just lazy journalism, it's a deliberate tactic. Consider how the Quran, Islam's holy book, is often cherry-picked. Verses about peace and justice are conveniently ignored. Instead, passages about war and self-defense are taken out of context, presented as evidence of Islam's inherent violence. This blatant misrepresentation ignores a fundamental principle. The Quran must be understood in its entirety, considering the historical and social context in which it was revealed. The truth is, Islamophobia is deeply ingrained in Western society. It's a prejudice that's been centuries in the making, fueled by political agendas and a history of colonialism. And in the age of the internet, this prejudice has found a powerful new weapon: fake news. History is written by the victors. This adage rings especially true when examining the West's portrayal of Islamic history. From the Crusades to the War on Terror, historical narratives have been twisted and manipulated to serve political agendas. Take, for instance, the Crusades, often portrayed as a valiant defense of Christianity against Muslim aggression. The Crusades were, in reality, a brutal campaign of religious conquest. European powers, driven by greed and a thirst for power, invaded the Middle East, leaving a trail of bloodshed and destruction in their wake. The Ottoman Empire, often painted as a barbaric and oppressive force, presided over a period of relative tolerance and intellectual flourishing. Yet, this nuanced perspective is rarely acknowledged. Instead, the Ottomans are reduced to caricatures of their former selves, fueling the narrative of an inherent clash between Islam and the West. This selective amnesia isn't an accident. By controlling the historical narrative, Western powers have been able to justify their own actions, demonize their enemies, and maintain a position of global dominance. But this manipulation comes at a heavy cost. The perpetuation of harmful stereotypes and the erosion of trust between civilizations. Lost in the cacophony of misinformation is the true essence of Islam, a religion that preaches peace, advocates for justice, and emphasizes compassion. To understand Islam, one must look beyond the distorted lens of propaganda and delve into its core teachings. The Quran, often misconstrued as a book of violence, repeatedly emphasizes the sanctity of life and the importance of peace. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 32, it states, "Whoever saves a life, it is as though he had saved all mankind." This verse alone dismantles the notion of Islam as a bloodthirsty religion. Charity, or zakat, is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, demonstrating the faith's commitment to social justice. Muslims are obligated to give a portion of their wealth to help the poor and needy, fostering a spirit of compassion and shared responsibility. This emphasis on social welfare stands in stark contrast to the individualistic ethos often associated with the West. Furthermore, Islam places a strong emphasis on knowledge and learning. The Prophet Muhammad himself said, "Seeking knowledge is obligatory for every Muslim." This pursuit of knowledge extends beyond religious study, encompassing all fields of human endeavor. This intellectual curiosity fueled the golden age of Islam, a period of unprecedented scientific and cultural advancement. The true face of Islam is one of peace, compassion, and intellectual curiosity. It's a religion that values justice, promotes education, and encourages service to others. To understand Islam, one must move beyond the fear-mongering and misinformation and engage with its rich history and teachings. The consequences of anti-Islamic propaganda are far-reaching and devastating. Beyond the headlines and political rhetoric lie real lives impacted by fear, discrimination, and violence. The psychological toll on individuals and communities is immeasurable. Imagine living in a society where your faith is constantly under attack, where you're viewed with suspicion and distrust simply because of your beliefs. This is the reality for millions of Muslims living in the West. They face discrimination in housing, employment, and education. They are subjected to verbal and physical harassment, and they live with the constant fear of being targeted for their faith. This climate of fear and suspicion has a corrosive effect on society as a whole. It breeds distrust and division, making it harder to address common challenges. It creates a breeding ground for extremism, as individuals on the fringes are more susceptible to radicalization when they feel marginalized and misunderstood. The psychological scars of Islamophobia run deep. They manifest in increased anxiety, depression, and PTSD among Muslims. They lead to social isolation and a sense of hopelessness. And they create a cycle of trauma that's passed down through generations. Breaking down the walls of prejudice and misinformation requires a concerted effort from all sides. It demands open and honest dialogue, a willingness to challenge our own biases, and a commitment to understanding the perspectives of others. Education is paramount. We must move beyond the superficial understanding of Islam often presented in mainstream media and engage with its rich history, diverse cultures, and nuanced theological debates. Interfaith dialogues, cultural exchanges, and educational initiatives can play a vital role in fostering understanding and empathy. Media organizations have a responsibility to move beyond sensationalism and fear mongering. They must provide nuanced and accurate portrayals of Islam, challenging stereotypes and highlighting the diversity of Muslim experiences. Journalists must hold themselves to the highest ethical standards, avoiding biased language and seeking out diverse voices. Most importantly, we must all be willing to confront our own prejudices. We must challenge the narratives we've been fed and seek out alternative perspectives. We must be open to the possibility that our understanding of Islam may be incomplete or inaccurate. Building bridges of understanding is not a passive endeavor. It requires active effort and a willingness to step outside our comfort zones, but the rewards are immeasurable: a more just, peaceful, and compassionate world for all. Do not forget to tap on the like, subscribe, and share buttons, and also leave a comment.